You've probably heard of counting kicks during pregnancy, but is it really necessary? I'm Dr. Carolina Melgar. I'm a cardiologist and I specialize in fetal heart health. Let me tell you a story, a true story. Emily was in her 33rd week of her second pregnancy. This baby, just like her firstborn, had been constantly kicking about 10 times in a 10-minute period. But that day, 2017, she noticed that the baby was not moving like she normally did. That day, it was like 3 or 4 kicks in a couple of hours. She called her doctor's office and was told to immediately go to the hospital. When she was strapped to the monitor, they detected a heartbeat but no more movement. The ultrasound revealed that the baby was in distress, so Emily had to go to an emergency C-section. Out came baby Ruby with her umbilical cord wrapped 3 times tightly around her neck. The on-call doctor who examined the ultrasound said that if they had waited even a day longer, she would have probably died. And that's how the Count the Kicks campaign started in Iowa. It basically teaches pregnant women to track the movements of their unborn babies in the last trimester of pregnancy, so they can quickly detect possible abnormalities. This campaign brought a 28% drop of stillbirths in Iowa. Most experts agree that tracking fetal movements is a good way to prevent stillbirth and other issues. I want to show you how to do that and learn how to recognize possible problems. Once you understand what your baby's normal patterns are, you're able to spot changes, and this can possibly alert you if something's wrong. For example, if you sit down to count kicks one day and realize there's a sudden drop, you'll know to call your doctor. Basically, counting kicks can help you identify problems with your baby's health and detect possible signs of miscarriage, even if you have a normal low-risk pregnancy. If you haven't experienced your baby's move yet, you may be wondering what it feels like, or if you're confusing it with something else. Some people describe it like feeling butterflies in your stomach. Others can feel like twitching, tumbling, nudging. At first, you'll probably question if what you're feeling is actually your baby moving, but with overtime, you'll learn his patterns. During the 3rd trimester, your baby can get very active, and if it's bothering you, try switching positions to see if it changes. For example, stand up if you've been sitting for a long time. I remember when I was pregnant with my first baby, I played along with his movements. I used to feel his foot popping up right here on one side and his bottom on the other side. So I used to measure his onesies that way. This was a great way to bond with him. Although you'll begin to feel some movements around your 2nd trimester, I recommend to start counting kicks in the 3rd trimester, especially in patients with high-risk pregnancies. It's very unusual to feel your baby in your 1st trimester. He's developing very fast, but he's still too small and too deep inside your womb for you to feel anything. Actually, they start to move around 12 weeks. You can see them in the ultrasounds, but you won't be able to feel them yet. Around the 20th week, you'll probably start to feel it. So, what makes you feel it sooner or later? A few factors. Number 1, the position of the placenta. If it's facing front, it's going to muffle his movements, so it might take a little longer to notice. Number 2, your weight. If you're small, you might feel your baby's movements earlier, and if you're a little overweight, you may need to wait a little longer to feel the kicks. That's because your abdominal wall is thicker, and that's why his kicks will feel less powerful. Number 3, if this is your 2nd or 3rd pregnancy, you're probably going to feel the kicks earlier than in your 1st one. By the 5th month, you most likely already felt some movements. And as time goes on, you'll notice more and more power behind those kicks. If you don't feel any movements during this time, I recommend an ultrasound to make sure that everything is okay. As you enter your 3rd trimester, your baby grows, meaning there's less room inside the womb for him to move. This means your kicks will feel more easily, and you can expect them every day until birth. This is why doctors recommend tracking movements in the 3rd trimester. It becomes very predictable. As the space inside your womb tightens, your baby's less likely to do somersaults. However, you'll probably feel kicks and punches more intensely. Sometimes they can even startle you. At this point, some moms can see their baby bump moving as the baby does. In the weeks leading up to labor, your baby's head will drop down towards the pelvis to prepare for birth. By this time, your baby will move a little less, and it's very unlikely for him to change positions. Counting baby kicks means that you're timing how long it takes to feel a certain number of movements. According to the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, you should time how long it takes to feel 10 movements. Any kind of movements except hiccups. You can record your movements on paper, on your phone, or even download a kick counter app. Also consider that it's easier to count movements when your baby's most active, typically after you've eaten. You should be able to feel about 10 movements in 2 hours. However, you'll probably reach them sooner than 2 hours. If you're in your third trimester and count less than 10 movements in 2 hours, call your doctor. You could also use this opportunity to use a fetal Doppler to hear your baby's heartbeats and be reassured. Remember that some situations can make you feel more movement. For example, number 1, after eating. When you eat, the increase in blood sugar also raises your baby's energy. That's why he moves more. Number 2, in the evening. This is a time when we're more relaxed and winding down for the day. Opposite to being busy crossing items on your to-do list, you're more likely to notice movements when you're completely relaxed. Number 3, bedtime. Babies tend to be more active between 9 and 1 p.m., which is typically when most people fall asleep. Now don't ask me why, but this is a rule that both my babies followed even to this day. I don't know what it is, but I call it crazy time. Number 4, when you're nervous, our body gets pumped with adrenaline to help us respond to the situation. This can also give your baby a boost in his energy. Number 5, after sex. Remember that sex releases a storm of endorphins in our bloodstream, and that reaches the baby too. This can make the baby's movements slower or more intense. As long as your doctor says the sex during pregnancy is safe, it's safe. If you'd like to know more about this, check out my video about sex during pregnancy. So, what's the takeaway? If you're in your third trimester and worried about not feeling your baby move, here's a quick trick. Eat a snack, preferably something sweet, and see if this gets him to move. If that doesn't work and you've gone 2 hours with fewer than 10 kicks, contact your doctor. You can also use a portable fetal monitor. Hearing your baby's heartbeat helps you know that everything is okay in there. And if you'd like to know more, check out my videos on fetal heart monitors. So tell me, have you tried counting kicks yet? Tell me your experience in the comments below. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Just leave them in the comments below. I'm Dr. Carolina Melgar from Sono Health. Thank you for watching.